All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your final drama PowerPoint of the year. Okay, this is the very short one. It's on improvisation, or improv, as some people like to shorten it to. Most people like to shorten it to that. Anyway, so improv, and what is improv? It's acting outside of the box. Okay? So, why practice improvisation? Why even practice it? Isn't it supposed to be spontaneous? Why practice it? Well, I'm glad that you asked. So the key to improv is spontaneity, like we just discussed. Like you already knew that, okay? It's acting immediately, like on the fly, off the cuff, whatever you want to say, okay? Spontaneity. And it is a skill that can be difficult to teach. So again, I ask you, why practice it? If it's so difficult to teach, why practice it? But the more you practice spontaneity, acting spontaneously, the better you get at it and begin to build this essential skill. And you want to build it. It is important. I know you've asked 3 times, why is it important? In live theater, when you're on stage and you're performing in front of an audience, things do not always go as planned, no matter how many times you rehearse. But if you've practiced improv, you've practiced acting spontaneously, it makes dealing with these situations much easier. So an actor needs to be able to improvise through unplanned situations. You need to be able to improvise. A good actor can improvise through a botched scene. If something goes wrong, a good actor can work through it. Okay? A good ensemble will improvise together and the audience will never know that something went wrong. It's one thing for an individual actor to be good at improvisation, okay? When things don't go right, when someone forgets their line and you're supposed to play off of that person. Your line is supposed to follow theirs. You're supposed to play off of their line and they forget it. Do you just stand there awkwardly on stage, or do you improvise? The show must go on, so you've got to do something in order to keep the show moving forward. Okay? All right. 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, think outside the box. Okay? That person forgot their line. Okay? He or she forgot his or her line. And your line is next, and you're supposed to respond to something they say. So you've got to be able to think outside the box. You've got to be able to think, how can I get this person to say their line? Or how can I go past their line, forget their line, skip over their line? What can I do? Can I do something that will either trigger their line or will keep the show moving forward without missing a beat? Okay, so you got to think outside the box sometimes. Sometimes it's not a conventional way to do it that will keep the show moving. So improvisation is based on this key principle, thinking outside the box. One more key principle after this. But so you need to try to go beyond the obvious and carry the audience through creativity. Okay, be creative. The second key thing to keep in mind is to lose the fear. Okay, if you are always thinking that, or you're fearful that the audience is going to laugh at you, and that laughter is kind of an attack on you, it's not. They're watching a show. You're in character. You're not you. You are the character. So you need to lose the fear that the audience is going to laugh at you. Cannot be concerned with people laughing at them. In fact, often with improvisation, the goal is to make people laugh. Okay? Sometimes, even in a serious situation, a serious dramatic situation where it's a serious scene and someone forgets their line or something goes wrong, if you can if you can act spontaneously, okay, if you can improv in that situation, if you make the audience laugh, they forget that something's wrong in the scene, okay? So you got to lose the fear. Can't be concerned about them laughing at you. An actor cannot be afraid of judgment from others. Remember, you're not you. You are acting as someone else, okay? You are performing as someone else. So you need to project that character in the scene, not you. So forget about the fear. And oftentimes, what I've found in my career in acting and theater, or whatever, and teaching drama, is that most times, a lot of students who are really nervous and awkward and shy shine on stage because it's not them who they are portraying on stage. They are portraying someone else who's not awkward and shy and all of those things. They can be comfortable in performing as someone else who's not subject to the judgment of the audience. At this point in the class, you should be more comfortable with one another and thus more capable of losing fear. You've acted around each other. We've done some silly warm-up games and activities in class. We should have been at this point working on a performance, so you should have been more comfortable. Of course, with the coronavirus thing and all of this stuff, it's kind of thrown a little bit of a wrench in things. And for future classes, this presentation was created to combat the coronavirus and having to deal with that. Anyway, part 2, creating character. There are 2 things that every improvisation must have. 2 things. Number 1, character. Okay, you need to live up to the character that you've created on stage. And number 2, situation. These are 2 things that every improv must have. The next step after you practice thinking outside of the box and losing the fear of judgment, it is time to begin creating unique characters. That's what you should be doing next, creating unique characters. The creation should be spontaneous and not thought about too deeply. You should try to exaggerate the obvious and be unique, not mimic. So when you get into the activity that you have to do for this lesson, you get into that assignment, you have a movie quote exercise that you have to do. Your role is not to just mimic the scene, mimic the actor who gave that line originally in the movie, but to take it beyond that, take it the next step, make the character your own, make the line your own, the quote your own, okay? You should be creating original characters, not simply trying to recreate well-known people or characters created by others. You'll see this in remakes of movies or adaptations of movies. Sometimes the worst movies, worst remakes of movies or characters is when they try to be the person who did it previously. Okay. Inexperienced actors tend to want to play a character they have seen in a movie or television program instead of making that person their own. It is okay to use these previously played characters as inspiration. Just do not mimic. You can use them as inspiration. Like, for instance, if you are doing a remake of The Joker, you can use Heath Ledger's Joker as inspiration. Just don't try to be him. Don't try to be Heath Ledger as the Joker. You're not acting as Heath Ledger acting as the Joker. You are acting as the Joker. You can draw from all of these other different characters of the Joker. Heath Ledger drew inspiration from Jack Nicholson as the Joker in the original Batman, but he did not try to act like him. He tried to take it to a whole new level, and he did an awesome job at doing it. Okay. All right, so here is your activity. This is the final really big activity of the year. You have a promo video at the end also, but the final lesson activity, okay? Included are 2 lists on the next 2 slides. Number 1, first line list, and number 2, movie quotes, okay? You will choose 2 from each list. So 2 for movie lines, 2 2 from first lines, 2 from movie quotes. That's 4 total that you're going to have to do. Okay? You will create a 15 to 30 second scene for each item. So each one of these 4, 15 to 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds. You're going to record yourself enacting those scenes. Then you will post each scene. You can put all 4 of them together in one file, or you can post each file separately. Okay? If you're using Screencast-O-Matic, and I recommend you using Screencast-O-Matic, you can actually record a scene, pause it, record the next scene, pause it, record the next scene, pause it, record the next scene, and then finish and have all 4 of them together. Okay, without having that dead time in between. You just pause it, pause the recording, and it's good. Okay. And finally, you will need to respond to a minimum of 5 of your classmates' posts. You can act as one character. You can act as 2 or multiple characters. You can switch characters by playing different sides. Or you can enlist a family member or friend to act along with you. No kidnapping is allowed. Okay? Just ask them to help. You can have props if you'd like. Turkey legs, things like that. Okay? For the movie quotes, make them your own. Again, like I said earlier in the lesson, do not just reenact the scene from the movie. The trick with improv is that you are supposed to think outside of the box, not just be that character. Okay? You can't handle the truth. Okay? That's a court scene in a movie, a very famous line. You can't handle the truth. Okay? Well, make that your own. Make it about somebody stealing your lunch money. Okay? Or something like that. I don't know. Just change the scene. Be unique. Think outside the box. All right, so here are your list of first lines. Okay, we're not going to go over each one of these, just a few. Okay, like for instance, the line is, the president has been abducted by aliens. Make a 15 to 30 second scene off of that line. You're going to add other lines. Okay, you're going to add the scene. You're not just going to say that one line. You're going to say that line plus other lines that go along with that line. Okay, don't do that. It's upside down. Okay. You can make that about anything you want. Be creative. Be unique. Your movie quotes. Go ahead. Make my day. All right? Make that your own. And you could even change up the line a little bit. You could say something like, you get up in the morning, go ahead. Make my bed. Go ahead. Make my breakfast. Or, just something like that. You can tweak it just a little bit, just as long as we know what the line is. Okay? There's no crying in baseball. Or, there's no crying in virtual school. Just make it your own. All right? Don't use those examples that I just gave. Okay? You can still use those lines. Just make it your own. That's all I have for you guys today. That's all for this lesson. Go ahead and get started on those activities. Talk to you later.